Butter, you're the reason why I am my weight. You're the reason why I rip my shirts, why I eat at the buffet. Butter, you got your very own kind of nice. We all live inside a butter world. Oh, butter, butter, gonna eat it by the stick tonight. Gonna eat out this world. Oh, butter, I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all night. Butter dreaming. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all.
Welcome to a Monday Night Live with Butterfield. We have another great episode. We have Mr. Anderson joining us from Central America.
Yeah, what's going on, Jay? It's another nice and warm, moist evening over here in San Salvador. How's everything
Man,
over there?
that sounds so good, so good. Here it's been 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 5 Celsius or so, plus or minus there. But it was a sunny day, yet it was very windy and very chilly. But I did go out, try to get my vitamin D right at the solar noon, which happens at 11:52 according to the D Minder app.
Amazing.
Solar, yeah, solar noon
Yeah.
being the time where the sun hits the strongest, so thereby increasing your chances of absorbing vitamin D, at least here in the Northeast, Massachusetts.
Right, yeah, it's when it's closest to you, and fun fact, we have a full moon tonight, so werewolves beware.
Werewolves beware. Eat more meat.
Yeah,
Bring
eat
that
more
inner
meat.
wolf.
Yeah, and the cold won't be lasting that much longer. We have
Yes.
what is it, March 21st, marks spring
Equinox.
equinox. That's right.
Equal day, equal. No, sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Spring equinox, equal day, equal night.
Yeah, and from that
Equal.
point on, the days are going to get longer because we're heading
Yes.
into summer.
Yes,
So-
yes. I'm ready for more sun. I am getting pumped. I'm counting the days. Man, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Hell yeah,
Oh,
hell yeah.
Summer on the Cape. And any Cape Cod listeners, watchers, hit us up. Let's go
Yeah.
have some barbecue, grill some steaks, and enjoy a Cape summer with us.
Yeah, hit up the local farmers, and
Yes.
if you're listening to this, go join our Discord, right? And before we get started with the show, go like, subscribe, hit the notification bells on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Make sure you cover us in all these social medias. Don't miss anything, and please, your support goes a long way with the algorithm, because the algo lords don't like us because they want you sick and dependent, right? And our goal is to dismantle the perverse food agenda and to advocate for animal-based foods, all while helping people like you get healthier and stronger.
Yes.
So-
Yes. And just one last plug, our coaching. We do provide coaching and we want to help people get in shape. So hit us up. You can email us at butterfield@protomail or DM Fueled on Butterfield Fitness or Butterfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we'll be talking about how to build a low-carb animal-based diet for you. So, of course, we go into all the nuance that involves, but this closely follows what we do with our clients should they want to follow a low-carb animal-based diet, right? If they want some more of that flexibility and maybe they're not doing it for those strict healing reasons that people go to a full carnivore diet for, right? But rather finding something that's more sustainable and more palatable for them, right?
Yes. So getting started, some housekeeping items. as you know, so this month we're doing pull-ups as a pull-up challenge for March. So 10 pull-ups. It could be assisted pull-ups. We are even allowing like doing the inverse barbell row. So you take a Smith machine, put at the bar, lay on the floor, and pull yourself up towards the chest. This is for the people who can't do a pull-up. Do this instead. You can log your points in our private members group. That's Discord.
Yeah, free group.
It's a free group. Join. And we do weekly Zoom calls just to hang out, just to talk. Any questions, all topics are allowed. Even eating seed oils as a good diet. It's a good discussion that we can have.
Yeah, fact checker approved.
It's a fact checker approved topic, and we love talking about fact checked approved topics. We even advocate in our Zoom group for vegan food. Just kidding.
On Tuesdays when I fast.
And then quick update, the pull-up count as of today, many people fear the pull-ups. It is it's very challenging thing to do, but it's a nice skill to develop. It really builds your back too and makes your back muscles pop.
Really, and that grip strength and really good.
Yeah. Honestly, there's no better back builder that's more good for you than a pull-up. It's like completely natural movement, and it's your body weight, and it works your entire muscles on your back. So it's a truly wonderful exercise.
Yeah, if you can't lift yourself up, how are you going to lift others?
Oof. Hitting it hard.
Yeah.
And Rashford and Joey both tied with 150 pull-ups as of earlier today. I believe Joey has already logged in a few more pull-ups. Man, they are spicing up the competition. And again, just to recap, last week we had a great guest, Zach Strength. He's gonna be potentially the most jacked. Well, he is the most jacked presidential candidate.
Exactly.
Right? He's running under the prohibition. How do you say it?
Prohibition. It's just a prohibition party, I think.
Prohibition party. Yes, I was getting tongue-tied.
Yeah, and his agenda is one that consists of making America healthy again. Well, they didn't actually say that in that way, but freedom, unity, and health, right? Prioritizing the health of American citizens for once. And, I'll just go out and say, I'm ready to throw my full support over any candidate that is in great shape. I think if you look at the previous presidents, as far as back as I can remember or even know about, they weren't exactly in very good shape, right? Of course, one of the reasons why seed oils became so popular in this country is because of President Eisenhower's heart attack that scared everyone. Of course, the guy would also smoke like 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So, animal fats took the blame for that one. But, go show your support for Zach Strength. Listen to the interview. Follow him on the social medias. He is an outstanding guy and really excited to see how far he can make it. And of course, we fully support him becoming president of the U.S. I think one of the things we really like to say here all the time is if the whole world just ate steak and eggs for a whole year and they shut off the noise, we really believe, I would bet money that human sanity would come back and all of our problems would be solved, right? Yeah. So I think Zach Strength is the closest thing we have to that, and we wish him all the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fully on board. All right.
Let's get to it. How to build a low-carb animal-based diet for you. Key emphasis on the words for you.
Yes.
You know? So our expectation with this presentation is that by the end you'll learn what an LCAB, low carb animal based diet is, how to structure one for you, find the right macros, tips for dining out, and what supplements you should consume, if any at all, and a few more items as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great episode.
Yeah,
So yeah, what is a low carb animal based diet? Well, it's a diet comprised mostly or completely of animal based foods. So this includes carnivore, right? This is we're using this as a general term, as a catch-all term for everything that is low carb. Um, Carnivore obviously is zero carb or negligible amounts of carbs. Animal-based foods include anything under the meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood umbrella. Yeah, those are your food groups. What is meat? Chicken, pork, red meat, uh, bison, elk, deer. You can get wild. Eggs, dairy, pretty straightforward, and seafood, also pretty straightforward. You get your salmon, tuna, or smaller fish, mackerel, so on and so forth.
yeah, or shellfish.
Shellfish, yes. And yes, low carb is anything under 100 grams, right? 100 grams to me probably feels like a lot. I certainly don't come close to anything to that. I primarily eat carnivore day in, day out. My carbs mainly come from eggs. So which is half a gram of carbs or something like that per egg. So I'm probably having 6 grams or so. It's really nothing. But
Yep,
it is interesting to point out, right? I understand that people generally in the scientific community, anything that is under 100 grams gets classified as low carb.
correct. And that's the definition we're using here,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Why might anyone want to do low carb? Well, for many reasons, but uh, one of the main ones being people come to this diet or this way of eating for weight loss, right? And by virtue of keeping your carbohydrate intake low, you are prioritizing more satiating foods. Of course, animal-based protein, and that is going to help you be satiated, stay fuller for longer, and be less likely to have cravings, right? Because anyone who has uh, problems with carbs will tell you that carbs make them increase their appetite. And of course, that can be useful for someone who's trying to gain weight, but not for someone trying to lose weight or for any other reason, athletic reasons or just quality of life reasons, just preference. This is just one way of eating to consider.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, that's a good point too. It's you're basically because you find a lot of the high processed foods are very carby, are primarily carbs. So when you tell them, hey, get rid of these carbs, you kind of force people to actually start looking more at natural foods, foods from nature, which are real foods, which are real foods for real humans. So that's very helpful because those foods are actually more satiating for several reasons. Several reasons.
Precisely. Hit next. Yeah, there you go. Deformative. But all right, so keto or animal based, many people have the questions, what are the differences between what we're talking about? So one of the similarities being, um, it's low carb, right? And to what extent? Well, it depends on your preference. Of course, keto will usually be even lower carb, uh, somewhere between below 20 grams per day. And we're using low carb animal based as anything that might be under 100 grams. And this is just to be, again, as a catch-all, as Jay mentioned. What are one of the main differences, or some of the main differences between these two? Well, animal based might not necessarily be high fat, depending on how much protein you're prioritizing and how many carbs you're trying to include. It is not a diet that optimizes for ketosis. Being in a in ketosis state is not the priority here. And there's many reasons to be in ketosis, but for most people, I would argue that it's not something you should actively seek. Rather, it might just happen uh, naturally, right, by virtue of how much you're eating and your activity. And animal-based is going to emphasize animal fats. Keto, technically you can be keto if you're eating like lots of plant oils. So we really want to emphasize the animal fats because in animal fats we trust. We believe those are superior for your health.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And yeah, a lot of people confuse. Well, I guess in the early movement, a lot of people confused being ketosis as I'm burning. Well, being ketosis means you're burning fat, but doesn't necessarily mean you're losing weight, right? If you're eating just enough to replace the amount of fat that you're burning, right? Which is why a lot of
Oh,
people focused on, oh, I have to be in ketosis. Oh, this kicked me out of ketosis. I'm no longer burning fat. Now I'm gaining fat. No, it's nothing like that. It just means, yes, you're using fat as a fuel, but depending on how much you consume that day, that will actually tell you if you're going down on weight, down on fat loss, you're increasing your fat loss or not. Um,
Jay, I'm confused. Are you saying energy balances matter?
yes.
Oh my God.
Uh, it's very controversial topic.
It
People, I
shouldn't be.
know it shouldn't be, but a small person eats a small amount of food, a big person eats a big amount of food, basically, right? I mean, I don't know why people try to say, oh, that it doesn't exist. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And of course,
but
humans are well equipped with the ability to gain weight for
yes,
survival reasons. So anyone who is not able to gain weight is practically less likely to survive a harsh environment. So uh, we're optimized for it. It's part of human nature. Of course, we gain weight.
yeah, of course we gain weight, right? And it feels nice to overeat. Right? I'm the type of person that loves to overeat. Um, Obviously, if you choose the right foods, it's much harder to gain weight, um, but it's still possible.
It's still possible.
I mean, yeah, we bulk on a carnivore diet, right? We're not we're not eating the same amounts and then just magically bulk. We're not magically
Exactly.
putting on more muscle. Types of animal-based diets: strict carnivore, carnivore, ketovore, animal-based.
Yeah.
So strict carnivore, right? So that would be kind of like the lion diet, right, Anderson?
Yes.
That is like super strict, red meat only. Some people even take it to, like Michaela Peterson, she takes it to lamb meat only, right?
Hmm.
Um, Apparently beef sometimes probably didn't sit well with her. Um,
Yeah. And I usually try to warn against, going strict carnivore unless you absolutely have to, because I do believe you might be putting yourself at risk for some nutrient deficiencies.
mm,
Inadequacies is perhaps a better term. I don't really believe you become deficient. It might just not be ideal or adequate, right? So,
mm.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're probably not you're probably still getting some nutrients. I'm thinking of pork, what pork has.
exactly.
Some of the B vitamins, thiamine, right? Um,
Yes.
so yeah, so you're still getting a little bit of that, but not as much as if you were to include these other animal foods.
Hmm.
Um, so there's that. Uh,
Yeah.
the other one is carnivore, right? This is primarily what we follow. 7 days a week. Yeah, pretty much carnivore, unless it's like a social event that there's like a little extra there here and there. Um,
Yeah, and usually this will be in the form of your BBB and E, so beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, or meds, meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood. Carnivore depends which form you want to adopt.
yeah, I like both acronyms because it pretty much captures pretty easily what source of foods, what type of foods you should be eating.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, anything under the animal kingdom is fair game. We are excluding insects, though. Insects are no go. We don't promote the eating of insects at all.
Oh, sir, it's not optimal for humans. It is not. It is not good source of nutrition. Anyhow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ketovore. So that is, the person that includes avocados, right? Uh,
Which,
which is
nothing wrong with that.
nothing. I mean, that's fine. That's cool. Yeah, that's fine, right? I mean, obviously avocados. I like avocados too, but I don't find myself having them that often, um, right? Because you always gotta keep an eye on it, make sure it's ripe, so on and so forth.
Too
So
much
much,
effort.
too much effort, man. I just want my ground beef or steak in the fridge, ready to take out, cook. That's it. I don't want to be cutting some avocados. No, but I like the taste, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously, yeah, keto would include other plants, whatever falls within the keto diet, but still primarily focused with animal food. So kind of like keto, but more heavy on the meats than a traditional keto diet would be.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like ketovore. I think it's for most people, a ketovore diet is perhaps more sustainable in the long term, especially people who find, some people find carnivore too boring.
Yeah,
So if they want to throw in some vegetables, some low carb fruits, onions or garlic, that kind of stuff, and it helps you sustain it, I don't see any harm with that, right?
yeah, yeah. Frank says, so no snails on carnivore. No, no snails.
Do you like snails, Frank?
What's that French dish that is actually a snail?
Like a escargot?
Escargot. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I still have mixed feelings about that.
I will say they are delicious. You know.
Oh, it looks like Frank has tried the escargot.
Yeah, with lots of butter and lots of garlic. Hey, hey, it,
Salty.
yeah. I mean, you probably shouldn't be having it as regularly as you should red meat, but okay, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't picture someone like, someone who eats a pound of beef for lunch suddenly is having like a pound of escargot. I don't know. That feels kind of
Pound
weird.
of snails.
Pound of
Yeah,
snails. It feels
yeah,
weird.
yeah. Probably desperate situation. If you find yourself eating a pound of snails.
It sounds like a hungry person trying to survive.
Yeah, just trying to visualize that. It's like that's a sad sight.
Sure, you can call it escargot, right? And make it French and make it all fancy and put a high price tag on it. But it's like, hey man, are you okay? Like, do you want some beef or you want some real food or something? I would reach out and help this person.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried grasshoppers and I've tried the snails. Um, so, I mean, can we eat them? Of course we can. Is it preferable? I would argue, for the cultural experience, it's good. Sometimes it might be tasty. Of course,
Yeah.
should you construct your animal-based diet centered around these grasshoppers or snails? That's a different question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
No, that's true. I mean, I had the opportunity when I was in South Korea. I had the opportunity to, try like an insect because they were like a lot of those street stands that have like all these bugs. I was like, should I do it for the cultural experience? And I wasn't even carnivore back then. I was just like just a regular Joe eating whatever. I didn't.
You
I just
didn't?
couldn't. I didn't. No.
What kind of bug was it?
I remember. I think it was grasshoppers. I think that
Oh,
was like
okay.
the main one. There was another like other local bug. I didn't even remember. It's just
But they have
odd
like
looking.
big beetles like on a stick or something. Like,
Yeah, the size of your head, a beetle, still
it's like
alive, so
crunchy.
so it's fresh.
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
well, while we're on the topic, and not to drag this topic for too long, but technically, crustaceans, so things like lobster or shrimp, they are insects,
oh.
sea insects. But to that, I would say, well, when we eat them, we eat like the flesh that's inside the exoskeleton, right? When
Mm,
you're eating a grasshopper, when you're eating land insects, you're usually eating them in their whole form,
mm.
and of course they tend to be much much smaller. But there tends to be, you can't make universal statements about insects because there's just like so many of them and so many different shapes and sizes. Like
Hmm.
some cultures even have like really really treasured like worms or like maggots, I think, that are just like really really fatty, and they're like uh, uh, delicacy. So you know the world is a big big place to explore. So for
Yeah.
all intents and purposes,
Yes.
that's not what we're talking about here. So
Yeah, for all intents and purposes. Yeah. Did we cover animal base? Not yet, right?
no, no, but basically, keto, we're restricting the carbs very low, and then animal based, we're just opening it up even further, right? But still, it's a diet centered around animal based foods.
Yes. Yes. Um, exactly. All right. So how to structure one? Boom. So on a weekly basis, right? Your foods, you pick between 3 to 6 meats of the meats that you actually enjoy, that you would have no problem having every day. 3 to 6, right? So you could have like a different piece of meat every day if you're so inclined. That's fine. Or you could have ground beef, some steaks, some pork, pork ribs, all good. Chicken thighs, man. Someone on our Discord group posted some tasty chicken thighs uh, on our Discord, and I want chicken thighs. I haven't had chicken thighs in a little bit, but now I want some.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't mind making some shredded chicken thighs and throwing like some cream cheese and Frank's hot sauce in there.
Mm, yeah.
Buffalo chicken dip, man. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the goal here is pick 3 to 6 meats, and this obviously I would say like at least three red meats, and then the rest a mix between pork and poultry. Of course, bacon, pork loin, chicken wings, or chicken thighs, whatever you want. The point here is they're meats you enjoy, meats you can afford, and meats that you can just have your menu of things to rotate throughout the week, right? So as to avoid being too repetitive, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People like variety. So keep in mind that you can choose all these foods. Um, People who are more strict, narrow food option. That's fine too. Optional, yes or no for eggs. You can also do the same for dairy. Yes, no dairy. These are optional. You can opt in for them or not. And you can also pick up to 3 different seafoods, right? Um, right. So that's your salmon, tuna, herrings, mackerel, um, whatever local fish, right? If you're near a coast, find what's a local fish, that's affordable, that's well caught.
Yeah,
Uh, but
absolutely,
yeah, fish
absolutely.
locally.
Yeah, scallops, of course, oysters,
Yes.
clams, that kind of stuff. If you're into that, that's absolutely fair game. But again, the point here is to just introduce the variety and just make sure that you're covering your bases across the animal food groups, right? And that
Yeah.
you enjoy it,
Yeah.
right? But seafood, so people will be concerned about the heavy metals. But hey, we live in an extremely toxic world today. You think you're buying, if you think you're going to opt for organic plant foods, you're also probably get exposing yourself to some heavy metals or whatever.
Yes.
And unless you're just like consuming this on a daily basis to a large degree, I don't think there's a big reason to be concerned.
Yes. Yes. And then lastly, if you're so inclined, 3 to 5 plant foods, right?
Yeah.
Um, it could be because you crave it, and that's fine. Because you like the taste, that's fine. If you feel like you're missing something, that's perfectly fine too, right?
Yeah, it helps
Um,
you adhere to the diet, sustain it. You know, you feel free to pick them. You know, if you want to discriminate based on toxicity, that's fair too. If you don't want to, that's fair too. You know, if you think that the leaves, stems, and roots are inherently bad for you, then that's cool. If you want to consume those, that's cool too. You know, we're not trying to discriminate based on toxicity. I mean, all plant foods have a degree of toxicity to them, and of course, there's smart ways you can minimize any and all toxicities present in them. So, just some education on the best practices to minimize these, right? Things like consuming raw leafy greens, even though I understand some people might enjoy salads, probably best to, limit the raw leafy greens, or try to saute them if you can, or boil them, so you can extract some of those oxalates out of it,
mm.
and just make it more easy to digest, right? Jay, if you had to pick 3 plant foods, what would you pick?
3 plant foods. So asparagus is one, avocados, that's another one. It's a fruit technically, but it falls within the plant kingdom, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and fruits and vegetables, yeah, included as
Yeah,
plant foods, right? Yeah,
yeah. And then onions, right?
nice.
Because onions are actually, they can be tasty if you grill them.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think actually onions are some of my favorites. So uh, whether you caramelize them, or you like cure them in like some vinegar or lime or lemon juice.
mm.
Man, I feel so dirty talking about plants.
You cheater! Impure
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think it's like one of the lesser harmful ones. Of course, people will say they're nightshades, whatever. Onions was your third pick, so let me throw my 3 picks. Onions too, but
Hmm.
uh,
I
you
guess you
know,
can include fruits here too.
yes, absolutely, absolutely, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, would you want to throw in some fruits too?
Well, I would say strawberries because they're pretty low
Yeah,
carb, low sugar, and they taste good. Whatever.
yeah,
Beyond that, I don't know.
fair enough. I like peppers. More nightshades. Not necessarily the best ones for you, but some peppers and onions together with the ground beef, like that used to be my go-to keto meal. I still rock with that. I mean, I don't actively do it, but I would still rock with that if I had to. Kind of like a Philly cheesesteak, kind of setup, with lots of cheese, ground beef. Yeah, I think that should the occasion call for it.
Yeah.
That's not bad. What else? I don't know. Garlic, does that count? I mean, I think like
Oh,
a little bit of garlic here and there doesn't hurt. Makes things really pop out, and introduce
yeah.
some variety from just seasoning with salt. Um,
Yeah.
and then fruits, yeah, definitely. I like low carb berries, but um, well, I'm in El Salvador, so I actually had some papaya.
Oh,
Um,
nice, nice.
so it's
So some
pretty sweet
fresh
fruit.
local papaya.
Yeah, and I've had some coconuts too, coconut
Oh, nice.
water and like the flesh that comes with it. Coconuts are good. I like coconuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tasty. Yeah, it's tasty. Yeah,
Yeah,
coconut is big for the keto community, right? Because you get your coconut chips, your coconut, because it's all low carb, basically.
yeah,
Coconut. So
coconut flour. Yeah,
coconut flour, yes.
I'll tell you
Uh,
what I wouldn't pick. Nuts. Nuts. I'm not a big
mm,
fan of nuts.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Same, I would say, yeah.
yeah,
So here, sorry, I just want to share something with you, real quick. Here, I'm going to share this window because
what do
you
you have?
know we mentioned nightshades quite a bit. So nightshade, a plant of the nightshade family, especially a poisonous one of the genus Solanum or Atropa, such as the bittersweet nightshade or belladonna. So it's important to note that we call it nightshades, um, and this is not to scare anyone, but it's interesting, how it is built into the language to tell you that a nightshade is part of a poisonous plant family. So obviously this is not proof or anything, but it's just something to carry in the back of your mind, like, oh, language is interesting.
Yeah, well, hey, look at that. And I mean, yeah, I think plants are still suspicious, but we were just going off of flavor preference,
Yeah,
right? Of
yeah,
course, 7 days out of six we're carnivore, so
yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, just showing the flip side of it, right? It's not,
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
it's just a good FYI knowledge for the people that are out there. Obviously, we don't die. Some people actually have adverse health effects, and they don't realize it until they take out nightshades.
yeah,
We luckily are blessed with not having adverse health events. So yeah,
yeah. Oh, some starchy plants too.
yeah,
Potatoes, some if you saute them in like loads of butter, like it's pretty delicious. Or like some, I haven't tried yet, like some tallow fries. I'll definitely like try that again. Probably not something on my regular rotation, but
mm.
uh, just something else to consider, right? We didn't mention any of the starches, which probably seem to be less harmful than the nightshades. I should have thought about that. Wait, is a potato a nightshade? I don't even know anymore, man.
I I
Anyway,
I think I don't know.
yeah, this
Moving
has been
on.
too much plant talk, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
what's up with this plant talk, man?
Well, it's just so dirty.
Yeah, impure thoughts. We had to get them out.
Yeah, we're just trying to show balance, right? Positive vibes. Trying to be not dogmatic at all.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should,
I mean, it's like carnivores treat these plants as like taboo, right? Now you're a carnivore, you cannot even say the word.
yeah. So I think it's fair if we push back a little bit against that.
Yeah,
And should the situation call for it, you can always uh, fall back on a ketovore or animal-based approach. For a situation or for whatever special occasion, you're gonna have friends over, you want to cook, that sort of thing. Be more inclusive, whatever.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Courtney says onions and the drooling emoji.
funny.
Yeah, so she's with us on the onions too.
Yeah,
All right, macros.
yeah. So let's talk a bit about macros. Starting with protein. How much protein should you consume? So a general rule of thumb, as always, 1 gram per pound body weight minimum. Main advantages of protein is it's satiating, and animal-based protein will be very high in nutrients. Will be very nutrient dense, so you can optimize for how much protein makes you feel full, right? Going over consuming protein does not seem to be a problem. It only seems to be a problem if you're not consuming anything else, right? If you're just going like 100% lean protein, that might not be very good for you. But the research will show consistently that you don't really need as much as 1 gram per pound. You can see all the benefits you need for like muscle at 0.73 grams, just like 0.73 grams per pound, which is like 1.6 grams per kilogram. Um, is that right? Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
That's what the research will say. But of course, you need protein for a lot more than just muscle. So there is that to consider.
Yes.
Um, you're pretty much made of protein. Like even your bones are like formed from a protein matrix with minerals like calcium, right? But your bones are protein too. Your hair is protein. Um, Fingernails, skin, all of that. So you need protein for a lot more than that. So shoot at least for 1 gram per pound body weight. If you're excessively overweight, if you're a 300-pound individual, probably somewhere between a 200, 250 range is something suitable, reasonable for you. 300 grams of protein might be a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Depending on your size too. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah.
All right. Fat. The fat macros. 1-to-1 protein to fat is a good start. This will roughly give you a 70-30 split in terms of calories, right? So you're getting 70% of your calories from fat, 30% of your calories from protein. So 1-to-1 ratio of grams. So if you say you have 100 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat, and that the energy distribution of that looks like 70-30, roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's good for. It's not necessarily a well formulated ketogenic diet, but it's okay.
Yeah. 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 You can tweak it, increase the fat, increase the protein from this point to see how you feel, how you perform, and every day doesn't have to be the same ratio. You can cycle high protein days, high fat days, on and forth, on and forth. That I find that most comfortable. Yeah, optimize for energy and digestive comfort, balance with carb ingestion, and yeah, you can experiment with higher levels of fat or higher levels of protein. Obviously, you balance it out with carb because you're still doing a low carb version of it, less than 100 grams, or very low carb, less than 50 or 20, or zero carb. Um, you know, you have to balance those ratios and those energy splits with that, whatever little amount of carbs you're consuming.
Exactly. Exactly. Which brings us to the next slide, where we talk about the carbs. So first of all, determine the carb tolerance. Do you even need carbs? Why do you want carbs? Right? Are you happy with zero carbs? That's cool. By all means, stick to what you like. But should you have a reason for which you want to consume, say up to 100 grams of carbohydrates? Maybe you're a very active individual and you feel a marginal benefit or some benefit to consuming carbs, whether that be from fruits or from starches or honey or your pick. Um, it's prudent to, if you're getting if you're getting energy in the form of carbs, it's reasonable to then reduce your fat intake, right? So if you're shooting for 100 grams, you can reduce your fat grams by 50 grams. So this will roughly equate in terms of calories, right? Because should you overdo both, you risk gaining weight, basically, right? If you suddenly find yourself having lots of tallow fries, then you risk like gaining the weight. So there's that to consider.
Yeah, yeah, man, tallow fries.
Yeah.
Now you have that idea in my head.
Yeah, well, people always talk about how McDonald's used to have tallow fries, and
That's true.
a part of me wishes they were still around.
Yeah.
But instead we have disgusting fact checker approved heart healthy seed oils.
Heart healthy seed oils. McDonald's got your back, man. McDonald's making sure every French fry is giving you heart healthy, low cholesterol, zero cholesterol seed oils for your health. That's how much
Yeah,
they care about you. They spend a lot of money on these seed oils for your health.
100%. Check out episode 5 reasons seed oils are good for you. You will be
Yes.
thoroughly surprised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every
Anyhow,
restaurant.
yeah.
Uh,
If you choose to consume up to 50 grams of carbs, then you can reduce your fat grams by around 25 grams, right? And again, the only thing you need to consider here is, should you include any carbs, you want to deduct them. You want to deduct their equivalencies from your fat ingestion, right? And of course, you're free to experiment. This all of what we're giving you here are just general rules of thumb, right? There is no harm in consuming more protein than 1 gram per pound of body weight. Should you equate that to fats? Maybe if you want to add the carbs, you don't do a 1-to-1 ratio. You keep the protein high, and then slightly reduce your fat so you can make room for your carbs. Should this be your decision, right?
Yeah.
And then again, in whatever form you prefer them, whether that's honey or from starches or from fruits or beans, if you want to have beans, or 100 grams of onions. How many onions would that take? I don't know. But anyhow, let's move. Let's keep it moving. We're almost at the top of the hour, man.
Oh, we gotta keep pushing, keep pushing. We run too long on this. Meal
Too
planning.
much plant talk.
We digressed on the wrong topic.
Yeah.
Meal planning.
Balance. Yeah.
Balance.
Go ahead.
We're just balancing meal planning. It's gotta be enjoyable, right? When you plan out your meals, obviously foods you enjoy, that will help you adhere to it. It's gotta be simple. Luckily, a low carb diet, low carb animal based diet is pretty simple. You're eating. It's not really recipes that you're doing here. You're just cooking up foods. It's easy grocery haul. You go to the meat section, get your foods, and then you leave. And you stop by the produce if you want some nightshades. And then something that's easy to cook in bulk. Right? Because you gotta meal prep, produce a lot of these foods so that you throughout the week you can just pull them out on an easy grab and go glass container. I included a screenshot of one of our purchases. Right, last purchased May 2022. We got 30-ounce 8-pack glass container, and obviously we choose glass containers because they are they're not plastic. You can heat in them, you can bake in them, and it's just glass. There's no chemical leach or chemical drop off or whatever, anything else that may fall off from a plastic container. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Again, we're going for convenience, because if it's convenient, if it's easy for you to do, then it's going to be sustainable for you to do. And that's why when we were talking about how to construct a diet, we try to make it very simple. Take 3 to 6 meats. So grab it quickly at the grocery store. You can even go as low as 3. If you have a busy week coming up. It all depends, again, your preference. Opt yes or no for eggs, for dairy. Pick some seafood here and there, and then keep it simple, right? 3 to 5 plants if you want. This will really make it easy for you to make your whole meals, okay? Without having to overthink too much or make it complicated or make it like too hard to track, to the point where you might be overeating inadvertently and it might be stalling your weight goals. Should you be doing this for your weight goals, right? We're not necessarily talking about weight loss here. We did discuss how to do a carnivore diet for fat loss in our previous episode. So if that's what you're interested in, go check that out. This is not that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tips for dining out.
Yeah, one of the biggest obstacles that always comes up, right? You have family, you have friends, hopefully, and you have to go out and eat with them. So
It happens to everyone, to all of us.
yeah.
So study the menu beforehand. do your homework, do your research, just pull up your phone, look up the place, and then pull up the menu. And you're like, okay, so what could I get here? Um, you know,
Yeah, it's always readily available today. There's no excuse.
yeah. Don't be shy to ask how they cook the food or what oils they use. Right? It's always good to confirm. Um, Generally, when you're getting a steak, they are grilled or they can be pan-seared. Ask them if they use any oil in their cooking. Doesn't matter if they grill it or pan-sear it, because sometimes when they grill it, they can take a brush and cover it with seed oils, right?
Yeah. And if they do, then at least you know, and then you can weigh the decision whether it's worth it or not for you to go out, have that steak, even if it was cooked in seed oils. I think, it's a messed up world we live in, but you should be able to make that decision out of a place of, being well informed versus, being scared, and you determine what is worth, what it's worth, for you,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yes,
But yeah, somewhere out there, there's a vegan like annoying the waiter, asking like, "Do you have a plant-based menu?" So don't be shy.
that's
Somewhere
true.
out there, there's someone asking for the gluten-free menu, and they're getting gluten-free bread, which is just gonna be like this chemical concoction of like weird things. So
Yeah,
don't feel bad.
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Seek high protein options. Yeah, meat heavy. You know, red meat heavy, chicken, pork. Those are your high proteins.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, you go out to a burger place, and it's like many burger places. It's like you pay for the burger, then you pay for the fries, then you pay for the drinks. So maybe instead of having to pay for burgers and fries, maybe you just get two burgers and you ask for it without the buns. Now you have, you know, high protein meal.
Yeah,
You can make it
yeah,
work if you want.
yes. And then go ketovore if this when the situation calls for it, right? It's not the end of the world if you're a carnivore or strict carnivore or anything else. You can go ketovore and kind of expand your food options, um, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you'll have like a small side of salad or some grilled vegetables here and there. Provided they don't cause an issue for your digestive system. If this allows you to partake in situations, in social situations when the need calls for it, it's totally valid for you to make that decision for yourself when you have to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you can get a salad bowl and then add the red meat, or add the chicken and double the meat or whatever. That option usually is available. Um, so that works. Now, supplements to consider. It's a big list. Get your pens out. Electrolytes and high quality salt, and potentially magnesium glycinate or threonate.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're low carb, if your carb ingestion is low, definitely want to make sure you're getting enough electrolytes. There's plenty of electrolyte mixes available out there. We're not affiliated with any of them, but we don't really want to because we don't really consume electrolytes. We just consume lots of salt.
Mhm.
Magnesium is a pretty popular one. You hear the talking point: our soils are depleted. To which I'll respond: what soils are we talking about? What country is this? Worldwide soils? I don't really know. Um, we don't supplement we don't supplement magnesium, but some people do feel a big benefit from just supplementing, whether it's in either of those forms. Just something to keep in mind, right? It's our job to inform you, but again, all we do is consume copious amounts of salt, for sure.
Yes, yes. Then common pitfalls of the animal-based diet. And these are constipation, the keto flu, adjusting to the diet to achieve the goals, and it may lack foods that you may have an emotional connection with, like your grandma's lasagna. Um,
Yeah, we're starting off with constipation. So that's one of the cases where, usually it's a sign of dehydration if you're constipated, or maybe you're like in those early stages where your digestive tract is adapting, or maybe you're just not consuming enough fat. There's many reasons. I also know some people report that consuming the supplemented with magnesium works wonders for their bowel movements. So, again, that might be a dehydration issue. So again, making sure you're getting those electrolytes, making sure you're getting that salt in, making sure you're getting enough fats in, and for you to experiment with your fat intake. Anything else, Jay, on the constipation front?
well, bowel movement will decrease, so don't confuse constipation with like lack of bowel movement. Constipation is actually uncomfortable. Um, so
Yes.
so yeah, just FYI, be aware of that. Um, but yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
you got some good points there.
Yeah. Animal foods are low residue foods, so it's common for your stools to become significantly smaller, uh, and
Yeah.
not as frequent. At least not multiple times in a day, like plant-based friends suffer with, or sometimes not even once a day, maybe once every other day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So point number two, keto flu. Uh, early stage adaptation to keto. Again, enough fat, enough salt seems to take care of the issue. If this is really severe, and maybe you're just ingesting too many carbs before, um,
Mm,
uh, consider as for you to evaluate, should you taper down your carbohydrate intake or not. Of course, depends on the reasons you're doing this for.
yeah. It takes time to adjust to the diet. Um, so that's why you kind of need strict goals. You need to have your goal in mind, because um, it's just a new habit. Basically, you are jumping into a new habit, a new lifestyle where you're making new decisions. Your grocery hauls are different. Your meal prepping different. You're cooking different foods that probably you may or may not be cooking already. So it's an adjustment. There's an adjustment period. Some people don't want to go through this adjustment period, and it's like, oh, this is all new. It's too much to do. Um, which is why you have to focus on the goal of, this is new me. This is a new lifestyle, healthier lifestyle. I'm leaving out behind me all those junk foods, all the convenient foods, all the uh, just foods that get manufactured at a lab or some processing facility that don't doesn't come from nature. And the other common pitfall, you're gonna have emotional connections to source of foods, foods that you had in your childhood, that you no longer eat, right? Ice cream, right? Are you never gonna have ice cream? Well, hopefully not in the near term. In the near term, you focus on your goals, get them, achieve them, and then find ways to not have it once a year or something.
Yeah, have it in rare occasion, twice a year, maybe,
Twice a year,
or take the extra
tops.
step. Make it yourself. Make it part of a cooking experience, uh, something like that, right?
Yeah,
Again, that the point is to find a system that you can adhere to and that works for you and your goals, and that minimizes those cravings, right? And does that mean that you have to become a martyr or something like that, and suffer with like these things? Like, no, not necessarily. Um, you can just make the decisions from a much better standing from a much better place than before, if you were dealing with emotional eating or emotional connections to these foods, disordered eating, binge eating, etc., right?
yeah, yeah. And I'm sorry, but grandma's lasagna, it's you're gonna have to have it next time. Um,
Yeah. Maybe she can make an eggplant lasagna. Now it's a nightshade lasagna. Yeah.
Nightshade lasagna.
Yeah. Some people have made animal-based carnivore lasagnas out there, just making like noodles like out of eggs. Um, Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Get creative.
Yeah. 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 You can start looking into recipes and, you know, trying to find alternatives to the types of foods that you sort of miss. And with all that said, it brings us to the Q&A section.
Yep.
But as always, you are free to ask us any questions at any moment during our live. But yeah, we did it exactly in an hour.
Yep. We just crossed the hour mark.
Just
Now
crossed
we're
the hour
nearing
mark.
on an hour and 1 minute. So we'll try to
Yeah,
keep our episodes within the hour, because we have run pretty long in the past. And I think that just
very long.
discourages like other people from like tuning in. When they see like a 2 hour long episode, it's like, who wants to sit down and listen to that? And of course, we don't have the
True.
bandwidth currently to like start clipping up these episodes into like all the segments, but that should come
Yeah.
down the line at some point. Um,
Hmm.
but of course, as always, we do our Instagram live Q&A before this. So if you missed us there, make sure you check it out next time. Always on Mondays, Monday Night Live. And then every Monday we'll be preparing this show for you. Um, Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll try to have guests. I don't believe we have any guests lined up this week.
Mm.
Maybe we should do a study club.
Yeah.
Pull up a study this week. And
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned. Everyone, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bells across all social medias. Yes, including Instagram. Don't miss out on the content, and just we're all in this together, right? Fighting the perverse food agenda and the lies that they're trying to spread, right?
Yeah.
CNN just came out and attacked ketogenic diets. They're saying keto gives uh, heart clots. What do they call it? Like blood clots. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. So we gotta fight bad information with good information. There's an information war going on, and this is the fight. This is the fight we picked. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
anything else you want to add, Jay?
Yeah, no, as my brother said, we're fighting the food fight. It's a beast. It's a beast of a fight, because it's we have these massive faceless authorities, governing authorities that have no liability, cannot be held liable to whatever decisions they make, but they're making decisions for us. So yeah, we're fighting the food fight. It's a fight I think we can win, definitely. Obviously, we can't give up, but yeah, we're gonna keep pushing and keep pushing. So, as my brother said, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and if you want to support the channel, yeah, you can buy badges during our live stream, or subscribe through Instagram. We also have a subscription link. It's like a $10 option there per month on our website. They can do to support this channel. And if you are interested in coaching, we can get you there and help you on your physique. That is our premium product. But with that said, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your time, attention, and very glad that you're here. I'm very glad that you're supporting us so far.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. God bless.
God bless.
Butter! Gonna eat it